I need you to just grab your things really quickly. This person's going to take over, and I need you to just come with me. You're being called into a meeting. Okay. Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kelly Aileen. Welcome back if you are a subscriber, and welcome if you are new. If you are new, I make lifestyle and beauty vlogs. So if you like my content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, today's video, as you can see from the title, is a little bit different than the type of videos that I usually make. Today's video is a story time about how I got laid off from my job 4 months ago. I know. It's still crazy to say it out loud. But yeah, so it's the story about how I was laid off, and then everything that I kind of learned during that time, and then what my biggest takeaways were. So I wanted to share this story because I know that this is something that is very relatable to a lot of people, unfortunately. So hopefully, by me sharing my story, it can give someone a glimpse of hope, or, just have something that they can kind of relate to, and they can kind of get some ideas about how they can kind of push through if they're going through anything similar. And it doesn't even have to be anything like being laid off from a job. It just can be a difficult time that you're going through, that you're trying to figure out how to process that, and, figure out when and how you're going to get to the other side of that time that, that you're going through. So the other reason why I wanted to share this story is because it's kind of like a personal challenge for me to be vulnerable and like very transparent. In my family, or maybe this is just like something I put on myself, but I feel like, I'm, one of the ones who like has it together. Everything's going well. I'm making all the right decisions in life. And to go through something like being laid off from my very first corporate job was something that was like a little, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little hit to my ego, a little like hit to my pride. And it was something that I did not even want to share with my family. It took me a little while to even tell them. So this is a personal challenge for me, just to be, a little bit vulnerable and open about, life in general, because like I said, everybody goes through stuff, and there's nothing like feeling like you're the only one dealing with something, where I know it sounds a little dramatic, but I know that there are people who get laid off, people who go through hard times, but it always feels good knowing that there's someone you can kind of turn to and listen to their story and, get a little bit of hope, or, just kind of have something that you feel like you can relate to, like, oh, thank goodness it's not just me. So anyway, let's just kind of hop right into what happened and how we ended up here. So like I said, 4 months ago, I was laid off from my very first corporate job. Yes, very first one. I was there for about 1.5 years. So we have to rewind a little bit to see how we even got to that point. So back in 2022, and this is a decision I have been grappling with for quite a while, like a few years, mainly like after COVID, like after 2020, I really looked really hard at doing a career change. And in 2022, I finally just took the leap and I did the career change. So prior to that, I was an elementary school teacher. I was an elementary school teacher for 15 years. And it was something that I enjoyed up until a point. I got to a point where I just felt like it did not feed my soul anymore. I felt like I had, done all I can do and all the changes in the school system. It was just a lot. So that's a whole story for another day. So if you want that story, let me know. But yeah, so I just wanted something different. I wanted something different for my life. And so I took that leap of faith. And when I did so, and moved into this new job. When I say I took a leap of faith, is because I didn't have a solid plan when I left. When I turned in my resignation, I turned it in and I did not have a solid plan. I was just going off vibes. But something that has always rang true in my life is that I felt like everything was always going to work out in my favor. And now kind of sitting back and looking back on my life, I know that that was nothing but God. I know that He has always favored me and made sure that things have always worked out for me. And I am, grateful beyond measure. So I wasn't scared to do that at all. And people are like looking at me like, you're just going to stop being a teacher? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to stop being a teacher. And this is kind of another takeaway, or another kind of part of the message that I want to give, is that it's never too late to change who you are and become whoever you want to be. Like, I could have very well just kind of stayed inside of the box that, some people wanted to put me in as, oh, you're Kelly, you're the teacher. That's what you do, and that's what you're going to do forever. And I didn't want that for my life. I wanted to kind of make my own decisions and not do whatever other people thought I was supposed to do. So anyhow, so I, did this, and I was in the field that I wanted to be in and all that stuff. And overall things were going really well with the job. But, if you know anything about corporate America, again, this was my first experience, but if you know anything about corporate America, things happen. And for budget reasons, back in April of this year, I was at work. It was a regular work day. I'm like doing my thing, and someone comes to get me, and they're like, all right, I need you to just grab your things really quickly. This person's going to take over, and I need you to just come with me. You're being called into a meeting. Okay. So I go into this meeting, and I sit down, and there are 3 people sitting at this table, and they give me the news that as of pretty much that moment, I was no longer employed with the company. They emphasized it wasn't based on performance, and it wasn't, anything like that. It was solely based on seniority, like kind of like last one in, first one out type of thing. If you know, you know. So that was the scenario. And like I said, things were going well. Like I got a promotion in the year and a half that I was there. Like, things were going well. But still, even though I know that it was just based on seniority and not performance, it was still like a hit to my ego. Like, my pride was just kind of like, and I'm like, I don't even know how to process this. Like, what do I do with this? I had no idea, like, how to feel, how I was supposed to feel. So, yeah, like I said, I did not want to share it with, anyone really. I didn't want to tell my friends. I didn't want to tell my family, because it's like low key in my mind, it was like embarrassing. Like, girl, you just lost your job. So for the first time in like my adult life, since I was probably like 16 or 17 years old, I did not have a job. It just wild. So, anyhow, during that time, because I didn't know how to process it and how to feel about it or what I was supposed to feel, this was such uncharted territory for me. Because if you know anything about education or being a teacher, people always say like, oh, that's the one good thing about being a teacher, you always have a job. Like, that was just something that was so out of my realm of thinking that was even like a possibility. I know it seems very naive, but you got to take into consideration like where I came from, if that makes sense. So anyway, so during that time, I like struggled for a while there. Like, I could not push myself to do anything. So if we rewind just a little bit, again, if you've been following me for a little while, you know that, so this happened in April, and you know that in March I had started posting on my YouTube channel every day. I did like my own March Madness, and I posted a video every single day, like a daily vlog every single day for the month of March. And I loved it. I absolutely loved doing it. Like, I had the best time doing it. Like, I finally felt like I was doing the thing that I wanted to do, which was be a content creator, be on YouTube, build a community. Like, I was doing that thing, and I did it while I was working a full-time job. I was working, I was doing this thing, and like, me working had nothing to do with my channel. Like, I never talked about, my work or anything like that. So it was just very strange to me that once this happened, I could not find the motivation to pick up my camera and vlog. I don't know, like, a part of me felt like because I didn't have a real job to go to or a full-time job to go to, like, I had nothing to put out. Like, I had nothing to do. And a part of me also felt like because I wasn't being truthful and I don't know, like being like transparent and open about this, me being laid off, that like it was hard for me to kind of navigate around that and figure out what to talk about on my channel, if that makes sense. So that like put me in like this very weird, just kind of space where even though like my channel, my vlogs, all of those things had absolutely nothing to do with my work, not having my job or being let go just killed my motivation. I don't know. It was a very weird thing. So the other kind of side of that coin was that my faith. So if you have been following me a while, I talked a little bit about it in a video a while back, just kind of like how I've been, working on my faith and like working on my relationship with God and all of these things. And things have been going really well with that. I was like, doing my like daily prayers and like, learning like the Bible and like doing all of these things. And yet when this happened, I completely like withdrew from that side as well, just because I'm like, I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. I didn't even cry. I was just kind of like in this very weird limbo space. And you would think during that time, that's when you would like really lean into your faith, right? Well, I didn't do that. I didn't do anything. I didn't do much of anything at all. And I think one of my biggest takeaways ended up being when I kind of started to kind of progress through it, because now here we are, it's July that we're making this video. And I think, I'm finally mentally to the other side of it. And I would say that probably happened around the end of June to the beginning of July. Did we get to this point where I feel like mentally I'm just much better about the whole thing. And, when I look back on it and I started to kind of reflect on it, I realized that a big part of why I could not get over that hump and mentally like get past this thing was because I had withdrawn from my faith. And the reason why I realized that is because during this time, two things. One, I really, really, really wanted to be like a full-time YouTuber. So many people want to do that. Like I would love to do that full time. And I feel like I was given like all this time now, like, okay, you don't have to go to work. You have all this time that you can put into doing this thing that you said you want to do. But because I had, pulled away from my faith, like I just felt lost. So I did not have the strength, the motivation. I had nothing to kind of put out. Because, what I've come to realize through like, re-entering my faith and, picking up my Bible again and doing my daily prayers is that I can't do anything without God. Like he literally gives me the strength to do anything. So because I did not lean into that relationship during that time, I had zero energy to do anything. And then the other thing was, once I hit about June, and it's like every single day I would tell myself like, okay, today, Kelly, you're going to do it better. You're going to be better. You're going to do something, like do the thing, And I think it was about June. And prior to that, I had been like applying for jobs because I felt like even though I would love to be a full-time YouTuber, I felt like, I don't know, I'm just still in that, like, I haven't broken away from that, like, idea that, like, I need to have, like, a steady income. I need to have a full-time job. And, that's something that just takes a whole nother mind shift, okay? Different story for a different day. But, so I was, like, applying for I was on LinkedIn, like applying for jobs like every single day, like wake up, pick up my phone, going through LinkedIn, seeing what jobs were up there, like applying, putting my resume, and then getting email after email after email saying, thank you for applying, but, we're looking at other candidates, or whatever those emails say. If you know. So I was getting those. And as I started to put out all these applications, my email started to be flooded with those kind of like rejection emails. Like I didn't even make it through the first like screening phase of the application process. And that was a hit to my ego again, if I'm just being completely honest, because like, I feel like, I'm well educated. I feel like I'm qualified, and all that stuff. So it was just kind of putting me like in a deeper and deeper and deeper funk. And it was just like really like holding me down, like bad. So I would say around like June, I started to kind of get into my faith. And it took a while because like I was not feeling it. I was like, this ain't it. And like, I don't know. Like I could not even like see the vision of me being on the other side of feeling this way. So as I started to kind of get into my faith again, one day I just was like, you know what? I just have to stop. I was like, I have to stop. I am driving myself crazy. I have to stop. So like I took the LinkedIn app off of my phone. I tried to subscribe. I unsubscribed to the emails, but some of them still came through, but I did not read them. And I was like, I can't do this. I was like, it's driving me crazy. And I'm just going to focus 100% of my attention on my YouTube channel, putting out content, vlogging. I'm like, Kelly, you have so much more to offer than just like your job doesn't define you. You know that. And your job has nothing to do with your content. So why is not having this job keeping you from doing this thing that you enjoy doing? It was just a very weird, like mind-like thing. It was very crazy, but it happens. It's real life. It happens. But I decided like, I am just going to put 100% of my focus on this because it's something I enjoy. And I think once I kind of get back into it, cause it takes you a minute to get comfortable. And like anything, like if you stop going to the gym, if like you were like a workout person and you stop going to the gym for like a couple weeks or a month or so, and you go back, like you kind of got to build that like confidence and stamina back up into doing those same things that you were doing before. And that's what it was like with like my YouTube and my vlogging. Like I felt so awkward picking up the camera again. I'm like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? Like, if you, like I said before, if you know, you know. So anyway, I made that decision right at the end of June that I am done looking. I was like, I'm just going to take the month of July off. And I can tell you, I am not lying. Marge, if you are out there, I had this conversation with her through text message because, I had kind of confided in her and told her what was going on. And I said to her, I was like, I just decided I'm just going to stop looking for the month of July. I was like, I'm just going to take at least a month off from looking and just focus on this thing. So, and I was like, let go, let God. And that was kind of like my mindset at that time. And literally, I want to say 2 days after that, I got a phone call from one of the jobs that I had applied for. And it's so crazy because I applied for this job one day after finally editing something to put on my YouTube channel. I had gone on to LinkedIn and saw this job and I was like, oh, okay. And, I applied for it. And then this was like, I want to say this was probably a week and a half or so after that. But literally 2 days after I like let go and let God, like it is out of my hands at this point. And I got a phone call from them and, saying that, we, want to do an interview and like, okay. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do the interview or whatever. And in my mind, I'm like, but Kelly, you just said like 2 days ago, you're not going to look for a job. You're just going to focus on your YouTube, on your content creation and like all of that. So I kind of not like put it out of my mind, but I was in such a different mental space that I didn't let it consume me during that week between the time I got the phone call and the time that the interview was set for. I did not let the thought of this possibility consume me. I went back into focusing on this, but I was still kind of struggling a little bit. But while I was struggling a little bit, I started to really work in my faith again and started, doing my daily my daily prayer. I had gotten a devotional that was recommended and started doing the devotional, the one that I shared with you guys if you see my most recent vlog. That devotional, that has been like really helping. I've been doing that daily. And even at the beginning, I would do like a day here and then nothing, and then like a day here and maybe go 2 days and then do another day, because it really took a lot of like kind of like practice and consistency. When people say like with content creation and YouTube, you have to be consistent. Well, the same thing is true in a lot of things, and it took kind of some consistency before I really started to see the results, and the results weren't tangible. The results were like mental results about, you know, me and like who I am and what my purpose is and what I have to offer and, you know, all of that stuff. So yeah, I did not let that consume me. I just allowed the chips to fall where they may, because at this point I had re-leaned into my faith, and it really kind of pushed me through, and it took the worry out of my hands and I put it into God's hands, and it kept me from being like, I don't want to be like politically incorrect and use like the word paralyzed, but that's how I was feeling. Like I could not move. I could not do anything. But it kept me from being that way. Like I just felt so different mentally. So anyway, I don't want to drag the story out. So I did that. And initially when I decided I was going to make this video, before we get to the end of it, when I decided I was going to make this video, it was with the purpose of talking about where I currently was. Like, I don't have a full-time job. I'm putting my my everything into my YouTube channel. And also this is why I have not been posting on my YouTube channel, because mentally this like really messed me up and put me in a bad place. But through my faith, through leaning back into my faith, through the strength of God, like I started to come through that, and he kind of pushed me through and saw me through that. Well, now sitting here today, the ending to this video or this story is a little bit different, because I got the job. I got the job. I interviewed, I did a second interview. I went and did like an in-person one, and I got the job, and I literally did not think about it. I did not worry about it. I prayed about it. I didn't even pray and say, God, please give me this job. I said, if this is for me, then I know you'll provide it to me. And I left it at that. I mean, you know, it was a little bit more of an in-depth conversation than that, but that was the gist of the conversation. And, you know, that's exactly what happened. So to kind of wrap this up and sum this up, two things. One, yes, this is why I have not been posting on YouTube the way that I was before. It's just because I felt so kind of just lost and in a weird place. And I had nothing like driving me through and pushing me through. And then two, my biggest takeaway from this is that I can't do anything without God. And he taught me that lesson 110%. When, you know, during this time, during these last 3 months, is because when I pulled away from him, I could not do a thing. And when I leaned into him, and when I like let go of control over how I think that things were supposed to be, what I thought was for me, and just kind of prayed over it, gave it to him, then he gave me what he felt like I needed, or what was for me, whatever was a part of his plan. And the other takeaway was sharing this particular message and making this video, because the devotional that I have been doing, so I planned to record this video 2 days ago, and it just didn't go as planned because I was struggling to come up with the words or what to say, or how I wanted it to, you know, be shared. But and my devotional that day spoke about like, you are the message, essentially. Like, you are the message, just share your story. But I still couldn't figure it out. And then the very next day, you know, I prayed over it. And then the very next day when I did my devotional, it really just kind of gave me a little bit more of what I needed to figure out exactly what I was going to say and what my purpose was in saying this. And honestly, I figured out that sometimes you just got to be open and vulnerable and transparent, and you don't really have to have it all planned out. You just have to kind of deliver the message however the best way that you can, because it's going to resonate with someone. It's going to give someone a glimpse of hope. It's going to give them, it's going to impact them in some way. And that's all I really wanted to do, was to just kind of share that piece of me, share how God pulled me through this time. And I know that even if I did not get that job, one, I still wasn't going to look for any more jobs this month. Two, I was still going to be back on YouTube putting out my content. Three, I was still going to share the story, but the ending was just going to be a little bit different. So those things were still going to happen. So I don't want anyone to think like, oh, I'm only comfortable sharing this story right now because I now have, a job, and like, oh, I'm through that phase. No, I was mentally through that phase before I got the job. And it was because I leaned into my faith. I leaned on God. I put everything in his hands, and he gave me the strength to push through and show up for myself. And that's that. So that is the story of me being laid off. That is why I have not been showing up the way that I wanted to on YouTube and for my community that I have built, which I'm so grateful for. And I just want to say that now that I do have a job, I will not be pulling away from my YouTube, because I feel more motivated than ever, because I know, and I saw that back in March, that I can do my job and do this at the same time and produce really good content that everyone who watches my channel seems to enjoy, which I appreciate. So I'm going to wrap this video up here because I do not want it to be too long at all. Oh, wait. And like I said, I didn't script this out. I didn't plan this out, but I just wanted to share some of the wins that happened when I kind of leaned into God. And I know everything is not like, materialistic or whatever. Like I said, mentally, I learned so many lessons that were so valuable that I'm going to take them with me. But also, once I leaned back into him, like the things that I felt like I should be getting started to come to me. Like, my LTK, I had LTK for well over a year and a half. I had been on LTK, and literally last week, I got my first LTK payment. Literally this week, if you watch my vlog that comes out this week, I got my first gifted products from a brand. And this is just from me having 50 followers on Instagram, but me producing good content, because mentally I was just in a better place. I was, being obedient, listening to God and doing the things that he was telling me to do, and just leaning on him for the strength to push myself through whatever I needed to do. So those things were like small to some people, but huge to me, like so big to me, because I'm like, wow, this just shows me that as long as I am obedient, as long as I'm listening, as long as I'm doing the things, because I can't just say, hey, like this is what I want and pray on it, but not do the work. I have to do the work as well. So those were just some major confirmations that I'm doing things the right way. And then he went ahead and gave me a job as well, which I'm thankful for. So we will wrap this video up here. Please please comment. If you're going through anything, I hope that this gives you just a little glimpse of hope that whatever you're going through, it does get better. Even if you don't get the thing that you feel like you want from that situation, things get better. You'll get through it. You'll get past it. And there's only one way to go, and that's up. Sometimes you just got to do the work. But it's okay to not be okay, because for those couple of months I had to so it's okay not to be okay. You don't have to immediately be okay, because things do take a toll on you, but things get better. They always do. And, I don't know what anyone's faith is, but you got to find strength from somewhere, because it doesn't just come from you. You got to lean in. Okay. We're going to stop this video here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all so much. And remember to like, to comment, to subscribe. Until next time.